Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. You already know what time it is.
Yeah!
It is for the best afternoon show on God's green earth. We live in a day where ESPN is firing everyone and their mom. We're keeping jokers employed.
Yeah!
But you gotta be good, because if not, we don't want you anywhere near us. That's what half of the scene is right now. It is your boy Pride. We got a stacked all MLB show, but before we get on with it, I need to introduce my right-hand man, my ride or die. This dude, if I could, I would marry him, but I can't because I'm already taken. But had I met this man first, my life would have been different. Ladies and gentlemen, the man that I have a secret crush on, Mike Hughes, my boy. How are you feeling today, my boy? By the way, I said what I said, and I 100% meant it.
Yeah!
Man, you know, I feel the same exact way, except there's one key difference, Pride.
What's
I
the
don't care
difference?
about those kids or that marriage that you have, bro. I'll ruin it all. We'll start our own. We'll regroup. We'll rebrand. It'll be like the White Sox right now. Yeah, we got a cool roster. Blow it up. Let's do it again.
That's right. That's how I'm feeling right now. That's how I want you to make me. A lot of trades been happening, brother. The trade deadline has come and gone. There were some teams that made no moves. Some team made minimal moves and looked in the mirror and said, "We did that." God knows. Yo, Frankie was tight, by the way. Him being a Yankees fan. Oh, he was deep in his feelings. We'll get into the abomination that is the Yankees. But before all of that, Erod. Some people haven't even heard about this. Eduardo Rodriguez, a pitcher from the Tigers, who's having a very good year this year, might I add, a sub-3 ERA, shout out to him, was about to get traded to the Dodgers. And it was crazy because everyone forgot for a full minute that he had a no-trade clause in his contract.
Oh.
Like, everyone had forgotten all about that. And then right before he was sent, he was like, whoa. By the way, I got a no-trade clause. I'm not leaving Detroit. When asked, he basically put out an entire thing through his management team or his agent, I think it was, basically saying, look, my family is on the East Coast. We're fine where we are here. I'm not in the mood to just uproot my entire family and move them to the West Coast.
Yeah.
When in all actuality, I'm probably not going to get re-signed by this team, and then I'm going to have to move again. And he really wasn't all for that, which might kind of shows a very different perspective. Like, us as fans are always, our number one thing is for the players, if you want to be here, you need to want to win. Erod is kind of saying, look, bro, respectfully, like, I got a family.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, like, you tell me, brother. Holla at me. What you think about Erod? You think he's making a good choice, or you think he's just being a dumb fanboy trying to cash in his $8.3 million? By the way, because everyone's trying to say he's making like top dollar money.
Right.
It's 8.3. Let's pump the brakes. Yeah. What are your thoughts on it, bro?
Man, I think there's a lot of things that go into it. I think obviously I'm excited to throw it back at you in a minute after this because, you know, I do believe that Puig's walk-off homer and losing to the Red Sox in the World Series, or not losing to the
Dodgers.
The Dodgers in the World Series was definitely something to, you know, kind of answer that question for you. You know, you saw how frustrated he was during that. He smacks his glove on the ground, and obviously, you know, you just gave up a 3-run blast. So, you know, in the World Series, so it's definitely pivotal to that, and it's something that you have to look at and say, okay, that could definitely be a part of it. Why would you want to go play for the team that, you know, was busting your ass in the World Series publicly, nationally? But, you know, I think at the end of the day, you spoke on it so well. it's a really different when you're 23, 25 years old and you don't have a family and you get traded to a great organization in LA. I mean, who doesn't want to go there? But when you
Me.
have a family set, when you're in a place where like, hey man, like we've built something here. Our kids go to school here. Our kids have conversations and they have their own worlds and their own friends. And his wife probably has her own job and her own career. It's definitely something you have to look at it from that perspective and say, maybe we're happy where we're at, even though that's Detroit of all places. It's definitely crazy to think that you would rather be in Detroit, Michigan than Los Angeles. I mean, it's absolutely insane. So, I mean, I respect it honestly because you've seen so many guys over the years, and I mean this respectfully to a legend, Albert Pujols, even being one of those guys who left the Cardinals just to go chase a ring in Los Angeles, because that's what comes with being a part of the Cardinals organization. You have to go win somewhere else because you're not going to do it there. But Randy, but it's definitely something that
So foul.
20
So
games
foul.
back. Not as foul as 20 games
By
back.
the way, just want to throw it out there. That's only been them in like the last 3 years.
And guess what? I'm right. You know where I'm from?
Such a hater.
You know where I'm from?
Oh my God, let me hear it. Where are you from, Michael?
Right here, right now. And that's all I care about. That's all I care about.
I'm using that line, by the way.
I'm from right here, right now. What you want to do about it? Like, come on.
Oh, Lord.
It's a beautiful, especially when you get into arguments. That's a beautiful way to start an argument.
Oh, 100%.
Like, where you from? I'll be like, right here, right now. What about it?
It's like, and then all of a sudden, it's like the meme of Mr. Krabs with everything spinning around him, and he's all of a sudden it's that because they don't.
You're crazy, but no, man. I respect Eddie so much for it. I don't think it was a great decision for him because he is going to be a free agent soon, and that is something that you have to look at and take into account to where where's somewhere that you could build your stock up. Where's somewhere that even if Los Angeles doesn't keep you, you can get that playoff experience to say for an organization to say he pitched very well in the playoffs. Let's see what happens. He could be a pivotal part to this team. You're not going to get that in Detroit. And the rest of the season for the Detroit Tigers is just pretty much just kind of just there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like those last 2 weeks of senior year in high school when you're kind of just hanging out and there's no real assignments. There's no real finals. Like you're just there. And that's
you're
really
there because you have to be there.
Yeah. Like you're just trying to fill out, get the check, do what you got to do, check all the boxes. I was present today. Like, and that's it. Like no one cares how the rest of the season plays out for the Detroit Tigers. And that's just respectful.
And you're not wrong. You're really not. And the thing is, by the way, before he has after this year 3 more years on his contract with the opportunity of an opt out next year.
Yeah.
But also something to to take into consideration.
If you do very well, you can opt out and make a bunch of money.
And cash in. So it's kind of like a situation where it's kind of like for me, what had this been next year, I feel like he probably would have opted out and explored free agency and said whatever. You know what I mean? I just think it has a lot to do with the fact that, again, for as nice as he is, don't get it twisted, I do like him. Right. He's a very good, solid, quality pitcher. But the reality of the situation is once you start getting into like again, Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, those are what we call anomalies. Like people think, oh yeah, when you start getting older, you're a better pitcher. No, the reality is you're looking more like Bartolo Colon, where the only reason people keep you around later in your career is because you're a fun guy. That's kind of the reality of when it comes to pitchers, right? Mm-hmm. Most of the time you're out here looking like Chris Sale, right? By the way, I give up. I'm throwing the flag in with Chris Sale, okay? Because I'm getting sick of Boston, the social media page of the Boston Red Sox. Hey, yo, Chris Sale. Yo, in Double-A, my man was cooking. He was it, bro. Yeah, he was fuego. All right, let's get him on the mound. Tore clavicle. Oh my God, this move. Like it's to
what the. What did he just do recently? He broke his hand riding a bike or something. Like
I don't know, bro. I that's the part about it where like when he's hurt, I just assume okay, man's dead.
Yeah.
Have you ever played 2K?
Yeah.
And like when the guy gets hurt, and it's the most wild injury, but he's somehow playing through it. One time I was playing as Chris Esposito, and he said he broke his neck, and my man's still running up and down the court. That's Chris Sale. That's
Man,
Chris Hill. Like my
no.
man is just being held together by freaking duct tape.
What I love the most, the ones that are my favorite. You ever play the show? You just play in the show and you're having a
Yes.
good time. You hit a
Mhm.
liner straight to the pitcher's head, and it's like 118 off the bat, bro. And he just cracks him. He flops. He does that little animation.
The
where it's
animation,
like,
yep.
he does the animation, then he's back up and he's like,
Yep.
he's ready to go. And I'm
And he's
like,
good.
no, he's dead, bro.
He's dead.
Like,
yes, he's dead. I had one. It was funny you're saying that because right before we started, I was playing it. I was playing, and I hit it off of because I look and the one that I'm playing, I'm a shortstop for the Dodgers. I'm about to demand a trade. I'm getting sick of it. But it's crazy because like I actually was playing against Boston. I hit Chris Sale in his leg, and the animation he did the animation like he got hit in his calf. His entire body did a rotation. He dropped, and it was something new. He grabbed his leg, and I'm like, oh wow, this is actually kind of cool. And then mind you, I was playing career mode. So it was or road to the show. So it's like I have it simmed, like when I'm batting, I have it simmed to my next appearance.
Right.
And then when I'm base running, I'll do every pitch that way I can steal and all that stuff. But like I hit him and he did this whole song and dance like he was dying. And all of a sudden, it sims to me on first, and I was like, oh, let me hit square. And then my man just throws like I think it was like 101 off the gun. I'm like, what the what? I'm like, game. Yo. I'm like, this is wild.
I'm having a hard time with it because I picked the Cubs, right? And I'm a center fielder, and that's how I wanted to be. You know what I mean? But I figured like, okay, well, they'll just put me anywhere in the outfield when I get good enough. Bro, I've been in AAA for 3 years. I hit 80 home runs a year. No bullshit. 80 home runs a year in the minors, and I haven't been brought up. And I'm just like. I'm just not good enough, bro. I'm batting 350. Like, what do we?
Let me ask you. Have you hit 81 home runs?
Dude, you know what it is? That's it.
So you're not worthy. You're not worthy.
Right there.
You're not worthy. You said you're hitting 350.
Yeah.
Hit 351. Maybe we'll bring you to the table. We can have a conversation.
You know what? That's a great way of looking at life, man. You're always just one.
Matter of fact. This is what the Cubs think about you. Straight dog, and then on top of that, that's a little coup de grace. That's how the demand a trade. Come over to a good franchise.
That's the crazy part. I can't even demand a trade right now.
No, you can't.
I messed up in the beginning of the season when my agent called me. He was like, "Are you satisfied?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm cool." And he only asks you once.
No.
Once a season he asks you.
Yeah, you don't get you don't get the call again unless you say you're dissatisfied. Whether it be they change your position, you don't like that, or you don't like the team or whatever. But the crazy part about it is even if you don't like it, he'll hit you with the, bro, we're in no position to do anything about it.
Well,
so I'm like,
you should just ride it out.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you calling me? I'm like, what's the point? I'm like, why are you calling me? Like, bro, I'm coming off 3 straight MVPs, 3 straight triple crowns. And I'm like, yo, can I get back into the infield? Bro, we don't have no leverage. I'm like, man, whatever, dog. I'm like, yo, you're fired, bro. Like, you're useless to me, bro, at this point.
You're fired, bro. Get out of here.
Oh, God. But shout out to E-Rod, though. Family first, bro. Bigger man than me.
If that's the reason, you know what I mean? Like, we'll see. I feel like as time goes on, you'll hear more about it. But
I mean, I listen.
I believe
it could be what you said. That hey, yo, listen. Some guys, when they lose to some teams, maybe they don't want to go there, and it's a possibility too that he just doesn't like the Dodgers. Remember Ken Griffey Jr. Buddy said, "Yo, I'll go to any team except the Yankees. I will never in my life play for the Yankees." He said, "If the Yankees are the only team to offer me a contract, I retire." Some guys just have that, so it's a possibility that he feels that way about the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we won't really know until later down the road. Maybe even after he retires and someone puts him on a podcast and he'll start saying stuff. By the way, shout out. Oh my,
so zesty. I love it.
I don't know how I feel about him right now. Him and I have a love-hate relationship. He wants me to love him and I hate him. So it's kind of like him and I are not really talking right now.
I know.
Michael, Tuesday was next level wild stuff. I honestly thought it was going to be relatively quiet. I really did think so. But no. We're looking at a guy who, and Michael Lorenzen went from Detroit to the Phillies, which I don't know about you. Great move. I loved it. That got me excited. It got me let me keep it PG. But it put me in a very certain mood that I only get when I see you. But before we get into that, we're gonna break down every single trade that happened. We're gonna give our 2 cents on it. The first one, Tampa
Rob.
Bay, Cleveland, which
Rob.
was the shout out Rob, by the way. Rob 2 cents. Shout out Rob.
We got Rob 2 cents.
And I believe these are in order from the first trade that happened to the last, in terms of not breaking, but actually being finalized.
Okay.
So the first one, the Cleveland Guardians, I almost said Indians. The Cleveland Guardians and Tampa Bay swapped. They swapped players. Cleveland got first baseman Kyle Manzardo, and Tampa got right-handed pitcher Aaron Cavalli. I think that's how you say his name, because it looks like Cavalli, but then also looks like Cavell. I don't, he kind of looks like a Cavell. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm looking at him and it's like it's a Cavell. He looks very basic. But Cavell is in my opinion, I think you have a very good. Michael, you dropped something, Buster. I don't know if you know, but you had dropped something.
You dropped my mic.
Yeah, just like you dropped my jaw. But Mike, brother, I gotta chill out.
We on the radio.
Oh God, bro, I gotta chill out, bro.
We on the radio right now.
But Michael, how do you feel about Tampa trading a very quality arm for a guy in Kyle who is kind of been at best treading water in AAA? Mind you, this is before he got played, because before he got traded, there was the issue with the injury. He was on the 7-day IL and all that stuff. But I'm looking at a guy who is not really it, right? He started off kind of hot, started coming back down to earth. If this is me personally, I'm looking. I like the fact that Tampa got moved on from Kyle, so I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
but am I being too hard on the guy? What do you think about this trade?
No, I think, there's a lot of conversations about it, and there's so many different ways you can look at it. Not to fast forward too deep into the deadline, because this is obviously something that happened towards the end, but it made a lot of sense for me at first for the Guardians, because I thought, okay, the Guardians are going to be getting a solid arm. They're going to be trying to make a push in one of the, if not the worst division in all of baseball.
Easily.
The AL Central is just a shit show. I mean, an under 500 team in the Minnesota Twins right now are currently first, and that's really what it is. You know what I mean? And you got teams that are under 40 games back, still got a shot to potentially make a push. That's how bad it is. But you look at it and you understand that, and you say, listen, it makes sense right now because you're bringing in an arm. You got some big playoff type bats. And then we're going to fast forward a little bit later and talk about how Josh Bell was obviously traded as well to Miami. And that to me was kind of like, well, now it's contradicting itself. So that trade as a whole, I felt like was good for the Guardians at that time. And then obviously what they did later on, you're kind of just like, man, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Because last year in the playoffs, one of their biggest issues was they didn't have that bat that was veteran savvy, that was somebody who was going to be a part of the organization moving forward, somebody who's proven, somebody who's been under the lights for a few years. And to me, that was Josh Bell. I've been very big on Josh Bell. I wanted him to be a Cub instead of Trey Mancini, and God bless, Trey Mancini's gone. God bless. He's going to be a Boston Red Sox tomorrow. But probably. But it's definitely something to where I kind of understood it from Tampa's point of view, because I thought Tampa was going to go after another arm. I thought, if anything, the deal with Marcus Stroman could have potentially be dealt. I definitely thought they were in on a guy like Shohei Ohtani. They obviously just don't have the assets or the financials to resign somebody like that. So there was a lot of things that constricted that. It was just kind of like a tick for tack kind of move. You know what I mean? Like, you addressed something, but you also took something away. And I think that's something that kind of contradicts itself in the game, but it's worth a try because it's better than what the Guardians have going on right now. And Tampa is in a position to where, I mean, you have the best pitching staff in baseball. They can make somebodies out of nobody. So I'm sure they have a bunch of guys in AAA, AA that are just ready to come up and have a sub-2 ERA. And we're going to be like, where'd they come from? And it's like, no, it's Tampa, dog. Like, that's exactly. They'll go to Boston or they'll go to Chicago and be doo-doo in the butt.
Yes,
But
sir.
in Tampa, they are amazing. So it's just what it is.
I just think it has a lot to do with the fact that, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that when you see these kids come in and you know their role and you know what they're comfortable with and you spending a lot of time with them, you can kind of plug them. It's kind of like a little bit like what happened with Blake Snell, right? When Blake Snell was with Tampa, guy looked like a stud, goes to the Padres, struggles, but then bounces back. I think that initial struggle was just they try to let him do what he wanted to do. Remember in the World Series, I think it was the sixth inning, they pulled him, and he was upset about that. And
it was early too. Cashman pulled him for no reason. It was
none whatsoever. And I think the San Diego at first kind of was just like, oh, we'll let you go out whenever you want. Henceforth, why I saw a lot of these horrible performances from him, because there's a lot of times where in the sixth, seventh inning, he's given up 2, 3 home runs back to back, or in a small span, and it looks like, man, he looks horrible. He looks at no. It's just when you got to understand, bro, when you're reaching 80, 90 pitches heading into the seventh inning, that's an issue.
Yeah.
He's having multiple battles, which is fine because, again, there's some very prolific hitters in the league. But when you have multiple battles and you're hitting 90, 95 pitching going into the seventh, that is terrible. That is terrible. You know what I mean? It's terrible, especially considering the fact that, like, Blake Snell loves to go fast. Pause. Right? He's like me. Right? Just in and out, do your business. Let's get out of there. Right?
Right.
But we're going too far. I will say this before we move on to the next trade. I love that for Cleveland. I agree with you. It's weird, perplexing. What are you doing? But I love this for Tampa because not only do you have another arm, another quality arm, but now injuries in terms of coming out of their bullpen is a concern that with each passing day is honestly meaning nothing. Because now you have a couple guys in your bullpen who you won't use because of how deep you are.
Right.
Now when you start getting into the postseason, right, when you're in the pennant and you got to start, man, I gotta pitch this guy, but then he can't pitch again tomorrow. All this stuff. Now this stuff is making you kind of be a little more willing to be a little more creative because now you have an extreme amount of possibilities.
Right.
So whether or not this trade will help them this regular season, it remains to be seen because it's a possibility that Aaron probably won't get any pitches. He won't get any throws only because of how deep they already are. But come postseason, this trade will be proved to be extremely, extremely instrumental to any type of postseason success they have. Because now when you have multiple pitchers, now you're fine. Now you don't have to worry about, man, I'm going to have to throw my starter out there tonight and then have to scratch him next game. And then now you don't got to worry about any of that. So in terms of Tampa, I love it. Cleveland, bless your heart, question mark? I at that point, brother, I don't really know.
Rebrand again. Board.
On God.
Board.
On God.
Board.
You're not wrong. But the next trade, Arizona acquired, and this was a trade between Arizona and Seattle. Arizona acquired Paul Sewald from Seattle. And in exchange, Seattle got Dominic Canzone, who's an outfielder, infielder Josh Rojas, and infielder Ryan Bliss. Again, I think it's another situation of a very solid pitcher on the move, and just I don't understand why. If I'm wrong, check me, okay? I really want you to look at me and say, Pride, you're bugging if you have no idea. But I know Ryan Bliss. If I'm mistaken, I think he's the one who's a top 10 prospect. Right. Which, okay, I get that. I don't understand the other two, that being Josh Rojas and Dominic Canzone.
Right.
Because again, these are guys who are just, for me, Josh Rojas is just not good. And Dominic Canzone is just a guy that you just throw out there when you want to rest somebody.
Right.
A game that you don't care you lose. And if we lose, oh well. We just need somebody out there while we rest someone that we want to rest. So this right here, to me, I'm be honest with you. What I said about Tampa Bay and Cleveland, copy and paste here. Because this, in my opinion, makes absolutely no sense to me. Obviously, it makes all the sense in the world for Arizona.
Right.
Because Arizona is now in a situation where they
Great
believe
move.
they have, they believe they're in a very, very good position to win. Right? So shout out to them. They're still in the thick of the NL West. Granted, even if they don't win it, I think they can still snag a wild card.
Right. They're 5.5 games back right now as well. So out of first place. So anything can really happen.
Right. They got the talent. So go ahead.
Seattle right now is 6 games back. So it's kind of the same range. But I will point this out. You notice the Rangers got Max Scherzer. You notice Justin Verlander's back with Houston. So those are the 2 teams that are ahead of, obviously, the Mariners. When you look at a guy like Paul, and this is the only point I wanted to make, he's on a 1-year, $44.1 million deal. You understand at the age of 33, he's not going to be like your pivotal piece moving forward. He has a 2.93 ERA on the year right now. So I think that's something right now for, if you're Seattle, you got a top 10 prospect out of Arizona's pipeline, which is a pretty good pipeline in return. So I think, you take those other 2 guys and you're like, man, we really don't care. You know what I mean? You just fill it out, whatever you want to do with it. But they sold high. They sold high on a guy who hasn't really been a part of this system, hasn't really been a part of this organization too long. 33 years of age, kind of similar to, how me and you talked about how I felt about Marcus Stroman. If we could get top prospects for Marcus Stroman or a top prospect for Marcus Stroman, I was fully on board with it because you're 33 years of age. Are you going to always, for the next 3 to 5 years, have a 2.93 or sub 2 ERA? It's very unlikely. So I think it was a good move for Seattle in the grand scheme of things. You're 3rd in the division. You're 6 games back. Houston became a juggernaut again. You look at what the Rangers have been able to do. I mean, I'd go as far as to say as if Jacob deGrom didn't go down, which we all knew was going to happen. But if he didn't, you're looking at a team that has to be the World Series favorite. And, bringing in Max Scherzer, if they could somehow fix that and kind of get him back to even a shell of who he used to be. I think it would be very interesting to see what that team could potentially do come October. So I think Seattle's point of it, Kelnick obviously broke his foot kicking a water jug can. Pride. I mean, what are we talking about? That is, I don't even know. You have anger issues, bro. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. This is the 3rd time the team's told you got to control your anger and you kicked a water can because you can't hit baseballs. I don't know why you're mad, but
be mad at yourself. Don't be mad at anybody else.
Pride, give me the shit button. Give me the shit button.
Oh, my Lord. You really want me to hit you with it?
I want to hit me with it.
Matter of fact, threesome. Pause.
Resume.
Yes, sir.
But it's definitely something that I think it was a really good trade. I think so because, and that's the point I wanted to make to you was Seattle's just in a place right now where it's like, yeah, we don't care. We do not care. Like, you know what I mean? Like when with Cleveland, it was like you made that move assuming that you were going to just continue to try pushing for the division. Then immediately the moves you made after kind of debunked that and it kind of contradicted itself. So it was like,
right. But you're right. You're right. At that time, it seemed like, okay.
It was okay.
It's a reach, but we'll take this walk with you. We'll go on this ride.
We'll see what happens. Got to switch it up. You got to switch something.
Right. And honestly, I'm with you. And me personally, I think I'm more disappointed in the fact that Seattle last year was prime. Like, remember last year we were talking about Seattle. Bro, we were talking about Seattle and Toronto this year making the push needed. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about Toronto in a little bit, but for Seattle, man, it's extremely disappointing, and it's very perplexing to me. I don't understand why you would want to move on from a very quality arm, and those are very hard to come by.
Right.
Why you kind of want to do that? You know what I mean?
I think it's something, we spoke about it, and I've been preaching this. I think it's very important when you have a bunch of young guys coming up, right, that there is a precedent set, that we have pillars that are going to be able to win now. We've had these conversations, me and you, have had these conversations. What David Ross and John Lester were for both the Chicago Cubs and the Boston Red Sox was huge. It was huge. And those guys knowing how to win, those guys being in the league as long as they have, it's important. When the Cubs bring in Ben Zobrist, Jason Hayward, at the time, in hindsight, woof. But, at the time, it was big. You bring in a guy like, obviously, a Aroldis Chapman, and you understand that, we're bringing in these pieces so when these young guys can't hit or these young guys are going through slumps, that we can be the best versions of ourselves. And we saw Toronto do it. We saw Toronto bring in guys. Obviously, they have Alex, who's just completely fallen off the rails. Just a horrible pitcher. Manoah is just absolute. I don't think that's a whole different podcast.
He's a detriment. He's a
walking
detriment, bro.
I don't know what. I just saw him hit somebody in the face the other day. It was absolutely horrible.
Dude.
But I think that kid's gonna miss the rest of the season now. It's crazy. But
it's insane.
With that, though, you saw Toronto go out of their way to get a George Springer, to get a Kevin Gausman, to get all these different pieces. Seattle, they tried. They try to bring in the Robbie Rays. They try to bring in these guys that are going to do well. And it's just not the young guys that they looked at last year. And this is why I think it's so important to actually bring in top free agents. They were kind of quiet when it comes to the offense during the offseason. And I think what you need to do is really align them. So just in case somebody doesn't work out, there's somebody right behind them that'll be able to back them up. And they really didn't set themselves up in that position to succeed, and neither did Cleveland. Cleveland just thought, we're going to have some guy walk up to a SpongeBob theme song and it's going to be great and we're going to ride off into the sunset. No, you didn't bring in top free agents other than Josh Bell, and that's why you're not succeeding right now.
Yeah. And I'm kind of glad that you brought up.
My boy is mad.
No, that's my daughter. She doesn't feel good right now.
My girl is mad.
Okay, baby girl. But, excuse me, we've been talking a lot about Toronto, so let's bring them up. Because I think arguably this is one of the great moves now. It's going to be a very sticky situation later. Right. They decided to bring in Paul DeJong, Pong DeLong, Rod Van Hugenlong, right? Yep. And cash in exchange for Matt Svanson. Now, here is for Toronto. This is why I kind of do. I get it. Bo Bichette is hurt, and it's supposed to be something, I don't want to say long-term, but long enough where they felt a trade was necessary. And Paul DeJong, you're getting a exquisite, beautiful replacement. I love it. If Paul DeJong was here, I'm giving him the guac 8,000, bro. We're upgrading for him, brother. Okay? But here's the problem I have, why I'm not going to say I don't like, but why I'm hesitant on this trade. What do you do when he comes back? When Bo Bichette comes back, what do you do with Paul DeJong?
Right.
Mike, am I bugging? Am I tripping? Am I just being an undercover hater? Or is this stopgap, quote unquote, solution just going to open a bigger situation down the road?
Yeah, I think it's a good conversation. Right now, I was gonna sit here and say they could put him in second. Whit Merrifield right now is batting 296. You're not gonna mess with that. Nope. And honestly, he's in a slump right now for the last 3 to 5 games, and he has no hits in he has 1 hit, 2 hits in the last 5 games. Pardon me, and he's still batting 296. So you love to see it. He's just one of those guys that you need to have in an everyday lineup. You could DH him. You could have that conversation. You could have him come off the bench. He's a great utility guy. He's somebody that you can believe in. He's somebody that I think, moving forward, you could say is going to be a big key part to October. You know what I mean? And that's really, as much shade as I throw to an organization like the Cardinals, they do have experience in October, and Paul does especially. So when I look at Whit Merrifield, Sir, can I trust you? You know what I mean? Can I trust you? If I can't, it's okay. I got Paul. Paul, if I can't trust you, I got Whit. I think it's a great combination. And I think depending on the matchups, you can start to see that. And a guy like Merrifield in a slump right now, I think it's a great thing to where, okay, if you need days off, we can give you days off. You know what I mean? If you need this, we can give you this. If it's a lefty matchup, we can give that. If it's a righty matchup, we can give that. If it's just a matchup thing, whatever you're seeing, we can do all of it. I think right now Toronto's in a situation where there's really no excuses other than Manoah. It's really it's the one guy that you thought was going to be your Cy Young, Jake Arrieta 2016 type guy who just kind of comes out of nowhere and is just an ace. And unfortunately, it just hasn't transitioned to be that. He looks like one of the worst pitchers in baseball. Seeing this guy in AAA just get lit the fuck up. It's absolutely insane. But it took 36 minutes for me to drop an F-bomb. I need a golf clap in the room. And it was because of Alek Manoah, so it's not even that bad. But it's definitely something I think is going to benefit them. I mean, Pride, it's a good problem to have when you got too many pieces. You know what I mean? It really is. It's better than Bo being out right now and saying we have nobody to replace him. You know what I mean? Like I would rather some guy who can bat 280 sitting on my bench than some random AAA guy in the middle of October just hoping he doesn't get called up because he doesn't want to mess it up.
So here's kind of the issue right now, right? So their DH right now, basically, who's like the main DH is Brandon Belt. Right? He's batting, solid. I think like 250. Right. It's solid. Let me ask you this. If I'm tripping, I'm tripping.
I dropped my ball.
It's okay. If I'm tripping, I'm tripping.
It's not.
What about putting him in the outfield?
Paul is young. The young?
I would heavily consider it. I mean, obviously, I would have him now. But
why though?
Would you rather have him on the bench?
So, are you asking when Bo is back or now?
Yes, I'm talking about when Bo is back.
Well, I think you have to have a conversation. This is not trying to dodge the question, but first I need to see how you are right now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, what are you producing right now? If it's like average, you know what I mean? If you're batting average, if you're just kind of there in the middle of the lineup kind of guy, I'm
then
cool with
not really
riding the bench.
Okay.
Ride the bench. Who cares? You know what I mean? But if he's hot, if it's Mr. October hot, like you have to have that conversation with yourself. Dude, DHing is batting 250. Okay, cool. If for some reason Paul DeJong is batting 280 or more, or even 270, you're starting to have a different conversation of maybe we put you on the bench. You know what I mean? Maybe we just kind of switch that over. He's not really your power guy who's going to go out there and be a typical DH. But he definitely can. You know what I mean? Like he definitely can knock in some runs. For me, I've always felt like a DH position. It's always the big poppies of the world. You know what I mean? But people don't realize that. I would, in my personal opinion, have a guy who can hit for contact as my DH before a guy who can hit for power. Because more times than not, he's going 1 for 4 on the day, unless you're Big Poppy. You know what I mean? Big Poppy is one of those guys who does both, and that was a phenomenal thing. So it's definitely something to where if Paul hits lightning in a bottle in Toronto and looks like 2018, 2019 version of himself, I think you're looking at him and you're saying, we have to keep him in this lineup. Like the Cubs just had a situation just now. Patrick Wisdom's hot again. We had to designate Trey Mancini for assignment because, I mean,
as much as it hurts,
it didn't. For
you anyway.
It might have hurt Trey. But it didn't hurt me.
Nah, you're right. Yeah. Let me stop being nice.
Batting 230 with 4 home runs. Bye. Can't play first. Bye. See ya.
Which is wild to me because before, and this is what
absolute
he was, and then, oh my god. And I don't know what was. I don't even think it was really the cancer thing that kind of really destroyed him because even after it, he kind of struggled a little bit. But when he got comfortable, it looked like he was picking up right where he left off. Then he goes to Houston.
He didn't play as much.
I just think it seemed like Trey Mancini is the dude that he needs to constantly be playing. He's not a guy like Rafael Devers, or he's not a guy who else can really just come off the bench and be fine? Maybe Aaron Judge. Maybe. Maybe. You know what I mean? But there's a few guys that,
we just named non-bench players, but I hear you.
You got the juice, you know what I mean?
Aaron Judge coming off the bench. Yeah, totally.
He's a bum. He deserves it. He's a bum.
Yeah, totally a bench guy.
But no, you know what I mean, right? We're like, I feel like
most
Trey Mancini, he's got to play every single game possible, because if not, he starts to lose himself.
Right.
And then this. We've seen this with pitchers, we've seen this with hitters, we've seen this with every single position. Once you lose yourself, the process, the path, the journey to find yourself again and find your comfortability again, it's not easy. Some guys are lucky and they're able to like decapitate themselves and then rise back up and go, all right, let me go through 9 innings, no problem, and then throw my meat on the table and I'll pipe your girl and have you in the corner like Adam 22 just watching, right? Like, it's wild how some guys can do that. Trey Mancini, unfortunately, isn't one of them. I want to talk about a guy you had name dropped earlier, Josh Bell, who
I love Josh Bell.
I think you would agree with me. Coming into the league, everyone had high hopes and expectations for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to say that he's not reaching them, but you're
right. I think it's not wrong.
I don't want to say he's a bum. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he's a bum, because again,
it's just what you were when you first came out in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. I looked at Josh Bell and I said, that's going to be a problem. Like that's something. You know what I mean? Like kind of how I look at Ellie De La Cruz and I see that and I go, this is going to be a problem. Ellie De La who? Sorry, 16-6 Cubs. Sorry, 41 runs in the last 3 games. Sorry.
I'm drinking.
Anyways, 20-9. But
Sonic Scoop.
With that, I looked at Josh Bell the same way, in all seriousness. And I saw him and I said, that kid's going to be a star in this league. And obviously he gets traded away. He went to Washington and, then you're going to Cleveland and it's like, man, bro, dog shit organization. Now you're going to Tampa and it's like, it's a great organization, but it's still not a big market. I'd love to see how people view him every single day when he's in LA, when he's in Boston, when he's in Chicago. I mean, I wanted him to be the first baseman of the Cubs this year. If it wasn't Anthony Rizzo, I wanted it to be Matt Mervis or Josh Bell. And that's that for me. And Cody Bellinger, MVP Cody Bellinger is fine with me too. You know what I mean? I'm not mad about it. But it's definitely a good place right now. And we're gonna talk about the other trade in a little bit. But for Miami, really bringing in, it was Miami that brought in Bell, right?
Yes, Miami brought in Bell. Yes,
not Tampa. I'm sorry, it was same place, but worlds. Not Tampa. Miami brings in Josh Bell and Jake Berger, 2 big bats.
Yep.
That for me is going to be everything because they're a contact team. So RBIs are going to be flying for a guy like Josh Bell and Jake Berger, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Which is kind of crazy because that's actually was going to be the next one I was gonna go into, because the Josh Bell was the second one, which is that's the one that's receiving the most fanfare. Before that, they brought in Jake Berger for Jake Eder, trading for Chicago, and I'm having the same thing with you. What I'm going to say about it is the same as I got to say about Jake Berger and Josh Bell. When you're a straight it's the same thing. When you're a straight contact team and you bring in 2 dudes who are power hitters, when you have virtually, if any, semblance of power in your lineup, let's bring up
6 hole right there.
That's going to be at this point, bro. Like, they're going to be like spitting on fools, and it's crazy because for as much contact as they bring in, you do need to sprinkle a little bit of power throughout your lineup. You got some guys who's got power, but you don't have power hitters, and now you have 2 of them. You got 2 of them, which I think is going to help propel Miami to. Now, let me also pump the brakes here. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend that Miami is all of a sudden going to be a super duper threat. That being said, they are still in the hunt for the wild card in the NL. That being said. So I'm not going to sit here and say that all of a sudden that they're going to end up winning the division, because I think it's like what? Atlanta has a 12 and a half, 13 game lead?
It's over with, yeah.
Oh, it's over. It's over, right? But in terms of being in the wild card and being a team you kind of do have to worry about,
Right.
I think this is perfect, especially considering, like you said, Mike, they're out here with what 50. They're at 58 wins, doing straight contact. Pause. Straight contact. That's kind of been their thing. And the biggest problem that they have wasn't really getting guys on base. It's just been getting them back home.
Right.
That's been their issue because they just don't have the power. You got two guys who can do that now. And I think that's going to be absolutely beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. Miami is becoming a very exciting team to watch.
Yeah, very.
They're becoming a very exciting team.
I'd like to point out our first comment that I've actually noticed.
Which one?
You know, a lot of fireballs.
Great balls of
Avon
fire.
said, "World champion hats."
That's what we were talking about.
Keep holding on to it, Ray. Keep holding on to it, brother.
Sonic Scoop. You're
Last time
foul.
for a while.
You're
Last
foul.
time for a while.
You're so foul.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Are you done being a bona fide hater? Are you done?
Listen, I'm not. But you know what? You know what it is.
He's not.
I love Ray. You can check out Ray's show on Friday nights on the ASAP Network. It's a great show. But Ray told me that Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma are better than Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. So I'm just hating on everything Ray said.
Well, I will say this.
What?
I will say this.
What?
I'm gonna say
What
this.
are you going to say?
I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to be 100% honest
Please
here.
be honest.
I think you can make the argument.
No.
Wait, hold on. When I say this, you're going to go, okay, maybe. You can possibly make the argument if your main point is availability. I think that's the only time you can really make that argument. Because that's about the last couple of years, Zach LaVine has been, he'll play a game, miss 3, play 4, miss 2, that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Listen, man.
So I think if you're talking about availability, I think you can probably make that conversation.
Right.
That being said, Kyle Kuzma's dog shit,
Right.
and Jordan Poole finna get exposed. What's up, baby boy?
So just to counter that, before we
Go
get
ahead,
back into baseball,
Please, feel free.
2022, Zach LaVine played 67 games with a broken hand. Makes sense. Not a lot of games, but it's still a good amount. This year he played 77 out of 82. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear. He missed 5.
What about the year before that though?
The year before that, he played 58, and that was when he broke his hand.
But that's what I'm saying.
But that was 3 years ago.
Of the last 3 years,
Check it out.
two of them have been
last
injury.
3 years. Last 3 years.
2 of them have been injury riddled.
77 in 2022, 2023. 67 in 2021, 2022.
By the way, I just wanted to let you read the show. If anybody else plays like under 70 games, you would call them injury prone. But because it's Zach LaVine, you're gonna give him a pass. Go ahead, have fun.
I'm just saying, but it's not like missing hella games. You know what I mean? Now,
but it's still missing enough.
But the only time I've ever made that argument, by the way, which I know what argument you're talking about, is when you compare Jokic to Embiid, and I'm like, bro, like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, Jokic played 82 of 82. Like a fucking, and then you got Embiid who's like, I averaged 30 points, and it's like, he played 25 games. Pride can average 30 points if you just give him one good game.
On God, bro, I retire after that.
No, I'm saying, but Jordan Poole, hey, you're available, cool. What are you doing when you're there?
No, but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. After when it comes to like past the availability thing, I'm not with it. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying like if you're specifically talking about availability, okay, sure, you can make. And mind you, I'm not agreeing with you. Right. I'm just saying you can make something of an argument because of the fact that they're actually on the court. You know what I mean? Right. You're more likely to give me 12 if you're actually on the court and playing. You know what I mean?
Right.
That being said, in terms of, go ahead.
My last thing, you got 2 All-Stars and a Hall of Famer in DeMar. Now, no way is DeMar a great playoff player, but a Hall of Famer, I think we can all agree.
I don't know about that one.
We can talk about that later. Well, everybody gets in the Hall now, but
good point. You got it.
2 All-Stars.
Yeah.
Versus what? 2 guys who have been traded 3 times.
Respect them. We're talking about 2 guys, champions. They're champions. They're champions.
Got
Jordan Poole.
Carried by Steph Curry and LeBron James.
Don't put too much detail.
Yes, I can. Hey, listen. Don't let a good story get in the way of facts, bro.
Facts. Oh God. Oh, I want to hear you guys have that back and forth because that
Man,
back
we
and
could
forth.
do it. We could do it.
I want to hear it because that would be
Man,
absolutely
I'll go to war.
hilarious.
I'll go to war for DeMar, bro. I really will. And Zach. I always throw Zach under the bus, but I'll go to war for him. I talk a lot of shit, but those are my guys.
All right. So this is the other trade I wanted to talk to you about, bro. Both from, you already know where this is going. Both from New York, the Mets. They decided it was a great idea
Bugging.
to.
Was mad prick out here. You heard?
I don't know what in the wild blue yonder these jokers was thinking about, bro. Bless their heart, though. Bless their heart, because whatever they thinking, right? Because on the 29th, they sent Max Scherzer and cash considerations, who gives a shit, to Texas. Okay. It was weird. It was perplexing. It was very. Go ahead, be fair.
Luis Acuna? That boy, brother of Ronald Acuna Jr.?
Oh, yeah, Luis on him? That?
Absolute dog.
Don't get it twisted. He's a dog. He's not Max Scherzer yet, though.
He's got like.
And granted, I know they play different positions, but still.
Right. He's a 25 home runs a year, 40 plus stolen bases kind of guy to me. He's not MVP Ronald, but he's well out of the way.
I was about to say, like, even if he's not MVP Ronald, the numbers he's putting up is still he's something that I'll take it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is. But this is kind of where I didn't. And this is not, it has nothing to do with me hating Acuna.
Right.
It's just perplexing and very, very, very confusing.
Can I try to take you there? Can I try to?
Please, I am willing to take that ride with you. Explain it to me.
In order to do that, I also want to speak on the other trade. Justin Verlander going to Houston for Drew Gilbert. GBO, go Big Orange, Tennessee Volunteer. You'll love to see it. Who was their first round pick last year. But Drew is an absolute stud. I've gotten a chance to talk to him on the ASAP network with Jim Cross, Randy Jowers, and DB. We've interviewed him before, Evan Russell and company. So it's so beautiful that I don't have to buy a Houston Astros jersey to get Drew Gilbert's jersey. Now I can get a Mets one, which it also isn't great, but it has more respect to it. Very little, but some. But with that, man, I want you to take a walk with me on how I kind of perceived it. So the Justin Verlander one hurts because it's like Verlander's still been very productive, 3.15 ERA. Obviously it just hasn't been perfect for him this year. But going back to Houston, I'd imagine that kind of rejuvenates. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the Max Scherzer one, Max just hasn't been Max all year, and that's really what it is. So when you take away what you traded and see that they're paying for these guys, that they're here, hey, we'll even pay to give you guys, these guys for a little bit, just take on the salary. It kind of reminds me of how you look at international signings. You tend to see guys who are on rookie deals, and instead, when you get them internationally, whether it's Ronald Acuna Jr., whether it's Luis Robert Jr., whether it's whoever, you look at those instances and you say, we have to pay these guys like $70 million over the next 5 years. And that's really how I viewed this, was like you're paying for prospects. And I think it's kind of like the international signing in a sense. It's just a different way of doing it. And I think, honestly, I've even heard people talking about it on the MLB Network last night. It could change the way we see things moving forward when it comes to trades. If you have a horrible player who, has the history of a guy like Max Scherzer, hey, man, we'll even pay for him to come to you. Just give us a top prospect. That's going to change the market of what a top prospect is worth. And I think it's going to be really interesting because you can start to see guys who super expensive teams might not want to trade for. Hey, if you give us your number one prospect, we'll even pay for him to come to you. And I think it's going to change. It could potentially change the way other GMs move as well.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I get it. I mean, the reason why for me it didn't really make too much sense is right before they did this trade, they're still talking about
contending.
Yes. And I think so. Maybe my confusion isn't really the trade. I guess it's the buildup to said trade, right? Because you're sitting here and you're telling me we're gonna fight, we're gonna contend. They keep telling me that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And again, okay, what are the divisions out of it? right? Winning the division's out of it. But maybe if you strike some luck, maybe you can sneak your way into the wild card. Maybe, likely, in all likelihood, it probably wasn't gonna happen because, yeah. Right. But at least they were telling us we're gonna fight, and it's almost like they weren't looking at the standings. It's almost like they're like, we're gonna keep fighting, and then they look and go, huh, it's not gonna work. And then they trade Max Scherzer, and then the conversation that they had with Max Scherzer, which I don't know if you saw it, but he came out and he was like, oh yeah, I went to them and I was like, so what are we doing? Are we gonna figure this out? And they tell him, nah, bro, we're not gonna win. And he's like, oh, okay, question mark?
Right.
Where do we go from here? You know what I mean?
It's interesting, man. And it's something to where you've seen the Mets on the wrong side of it before. Cubs' #1 prospect, Pete Crow Armstrong, is in AAA right now. He looks like one of the best hitters and Gold Glove winning center fielders that you'll ever see in the minors right now. And I'm being so genuine. He's #7 on the entire pipeline in the MLB. They traded him for Javier Baez for 3 weeks. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, so to see them acquiring prospects for players that aren't playing up to that par, up to that standard. When they traded for Javi, they traded their one of their #1 prospects in PCA for Javi, who wasn't even having a good year. And they kind of did it to do it.
Yep.
And I like that they're starting to, Drew Gilbert, one of the most respected outfielders and hitters in all of college baseball. Okay, bring him into the fold. Brought Tennessee back into the fold in Omaha. I mean, that's when's, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't happen often. And you see that and you go, okay, now I got Acuna, baby Acuna, who might be better than his brother. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? You're right.
Like, it's the conversation is there. Like, remember when the Bears brought in Riley Ridley, Calvin Ridley's little brother? He's also a wide receiver. We knew right off rip. You're not Calvin.
You're not him.
You're not him. Acuna's brother, Luis, is a star.
Luis had a hit. People are like, ooh, you may not be him, but you're him in lowercase. Like, you're there. Yeah. You're there. Yeah.
Timothy and Himerson. I mean, there's both of them that go hand in hand. So, and to be in the same division, Pride. Imagine if they're both MVP candidates in the same division 2 years from now, fighting for it. I mean, that's
I'm beating my brother up. No, if I'm ever like that, I'm beating him up. I swear to God, I'm gonna hit him up and be like, "Yo,
there's ACL at Thanksgiving."
On God, I'm in the thick of the MVP race. Ole, vato, yo, come here, come over, bro, come on. I'm gonna run un poquito, right? As soon as you get that, take a bat to the knee, bang,
run him over with your car.
That's it. My fault. But the good news, I'm the MVP. And just
the good news is, bro, we're getting a paycheck this summer.
That's it, bro. That's it. But another trade I wanted to talk to you about. This one.
Actually, I had one for you.
Please. No. Michael, I know what you're going to say. We're not. No. Michael, please, we're having a good show. Do not make me have to end it early.
I'm not. What was I going to do?
I know who you're going to bring up. Go ahead. I'm going to give you a moment. Go ahead.
I just wanted to talk about how Shohei Ohtani wasn't traded.
Oh, okay.
What did you think?
Okay. Whew. Okay. My fault. Apologies, sir.
What's happening?
Nothing.
Do I gotta check the chat? Is something happening in the chat?
No, nothing's happening in the chat. Nothing.
Swear to God.
It's just, I swear to God. Unless I'm not even in the chat. So if something happened, I'm sorry. But no, I'm not talking about that. Jesus Christ. I thought you were going to talk about something. I'm going to tell you afterwards so that way you can't bring it up.
Okay.
But Shohei Ohtani not being traded, I saw that coming from a mile away. Especially like when at first when they said, you're trading him in his last year, when the thought around the league is he's leaving anyway. That's kind of like the thought around the league. Where they're just kind of shrugging. They're going to let him come. And even if he doesn't, they're like, whatever. It is what it is. We're not trying to trade everything. Again, the perfect example you brought up. Nobody is trying to be like the Mets. Trade away your prospects to get a guy who was who was playing. I mean, I don't know about that, Skip, but who was playing horrible before. You get him, continues to play horrible, and then he walks away.
Right.
So I think they're kind of just waiting. It's just for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I get Ohtani not being traded. It just makes me laugh.
Right.
Because have you seen Lucas's his first 2 starts with the Angels?
Man, I was watching. I was watching yesterday. He gave up 9 runs throughout 4 innings.
Bro, that guy's cracked at Fortnite.
Dude, cracked at Fortnite, bro.
I'm real talking, no exaggeration. I'm about to pull up right now what he did because it was horrible. Okay, I got it right here. So,
I was watching it live. It was Austin Riley decked him, gave up back-to-back jacks.
I was about to say it was back-to-back. It was Austin Riley. I think Matt Olson. I think it was Olsen and then Riley. I think it was.
And if I'm not mistaken, if someone can quote me on it, I think it was like Olsen's 26th of the year. I was like, that Freddie Freeman deal is looking better and better
every day. Well, okay, I don't want to.
I love Freddie though. I love Freddie.
I love Freddie Freeman.
Older, so
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. I don't want to make it seem like Freddie Freeman's a bum.
He's not.
But in terms of like Atlanta, you basically did get a younger Freddie Freeman. Let's keep it a bean out here.
He's not a younger Freddie Freeman. 100%.
You really did, and mind you, I love that trade. As soon as I saw it, I was like,
got a smile like that kid though. Pride.
Oh my
man, beaver teeth. Leave it to Beaver.
Oh, God, bro, look at him, building dams. What a weirdo. What a weirdo. I love him.
Man,
but no, this is. I just want to throw it out there right quick.
Yeah.
His debut. 5 in the 30 innings pitched. No. There was one before that.
It was 2. Okay.
Yes, my boy. There was one before that, right?
I didn't know because it's been so. It was quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know how.
And mind you, he's had the same number of rests in between both of these appearances, right?
Man.
5 and 1/3 innings pitched, gave up six hits, 3 runs, right? 3 earned runs, right?
Okay.
He walked 1 person, 5 strikeouts, gave up 2 home runs. Okay. It's rust. It's rust. That's all it is, right?
New place, perfect.
That's it. You got to remember, he's coming from Chicago, which is always cold, to LA, which is always hot, right? I know that's not the case, Michael, but let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's be nice.
I'll leave it alone if you leave it alone.
Yeah, that's it. Let's just leave it alone.
Don't say that shit again.
I'm giving him every excuse how Chicago is always cold and LA is always hot, and that weather stuff.
The wind dynamics.
Yeah, it's the wind dynamic. The stadium, everything's different, right? So his second should be better, right?
Right.
Uno, reverse, because my man said you thought that was the worst. Hey yo, hold on, watch this, because he comes out 3
on your soundboard too, bro.
Okay, I'm about to find it, but he goes, watch this, right? 3 2/3 innings pitch, which is less. Then 8 hits, which is more. 9 runs allowed, which, by the way, Phil, get it together, Phil. Like, why would you allow your man to get beat up like that,
right,
and you still there? Like, he could persevere through. After the 5th run, you need to hang it up and call it a day. But 9 earned runs on him. Okay, walks 3 dudes. Mind you, all the bad numbers are going up. And the good numbers are going down, right? He went from 5 strikeouts to 2, right? He gave up 2 home runs in his first appearance, 3 in his second. Got so mad that he hit somebody. Like, bro, think about it. But I swear to God, this is no exaggeration. The good numbers went down, and the bad numbers went up.
Man, it's something for me. I think the writing was on the walls when they said they were going to get somebody to compete. And when you look at what they've done, and you look at, I believe they gave up Kai Bush and somebody else, 2 of their top 3 prospects. And when you hear that, you go, okay, they're going to get a stud.
Yep.
But when you look at the pipeline and you look at their farm system as a whole,
I remember you were talking about that. They already were a bottom team.
They were already a bottom team. Now those were I believe those were both the only 2 guys they had in the pipeline.
In the top 100.
In the top 100. And there's still one the pitcher had like a 7 ERA this year. And Kai is just whatever. But you don't know yet. And it's something to me though. When I hear the Chicago Cubs traded for Shohei Ohtani, they traded 2 top 3 prospects. I know that one is P. Crow Armstrong, who's number 7 overall, and the other is in the top 30. But in this case, you're in a situation to where you're trading your top 3 prospects that aren't highly regarded by the rest of the league. So to you, they're top 3. To us, to the Boston Red Sox, to the Chicago Cubs, to the Los Angeles Dodgers, to the New York Yankees, they wouldn't even crack the top 15 of our pipeline. And I think that's something you need to take into consideration. When they made a move like this, they didn't have the ability to bring in a Max Scherzer, because obviously you're looking at a guy like Acuna. You know, you don't have the ability to bring in a Verlander because you don't have a guy like Drew Gilbert. And that's something that hurt them so much. So the move that they said, Shohei, just wait, bro. We're going to bring you someone to help you compete. Ronaldo Lopez and Lucas Giolito, who's a rental, and said how much he wants to stay in Chicago. That's what you gave me. And if I'm Shohei and I'm sitting in that dugout watching this man, or I don't know if he was on the field, but I didn't see him. But it was something to where I'm standing there watching this man give up 9 runs and over 12 runs in 2 starts. I look at that and I go, these are the reinforcements, bro. Like, that's what you brought me. And it was so funny, Pride, because when they made it, it's on my TikTok. I got to send it to you. I had to make a video about it. I'm laughing, just staring at the TV. There's a Shohei Ohtani New Balance commercial during the pitching change. And it's Lucas Giolito headed back to the bench. And it's like, it killed me, bro. It was like, yeah, he's gone, bro. He's gone.
Yeah, I believe it. And the thing is like, it's like, and I think Ohtani doesn't really, I don't think he's like angry or anything.
No, I think he's
like, it is what it is. I'm gone. He's like, I'm gone. It's like, it's fine.
It's not a negative thing. You know what I mean? And not to cut you off, but like we see that so many times with the Manny Machados of the world, the Bryce Harpers. They feel disrespected by the organization because they're not getting paid. This has nothing to do with financials, at least as of right now. You know, this is strictly just, we fucking suck. Like, we are so bad. And you look at the pipeline and you go, it's not getting any better. Like, this team hasn't made the playoffs in how long, Pride? A decade? At least.
Was Mike Trout even on the roster?
I think he's made 1 playoff appearance, if I'm not mistaken. He's made 1 playoff appearance. But hear me when I say that, right? You've made 1 playoff appearance. So you should have a bunch of studs in this pipeline that are coming up. You've been bad for a very long time.
Very long time.
So where's the prospects? The whole farm system, the whole scouting department, they're all awful. You know, you banked in a guy like Mike Trout. You bring in a guy like Shohei Ohtani, who only wanted to go there for Mike Trout and the weather and obviously the DH. So you look at that and you go, now that it's a universal DH, now that you have so many other stars in the league and Mike Trout's been more injured than ever lately, you're starting to look, if I'm Shohei Ohtani, hey, man, not only have I cleared Mike Trout, but I think I could find a better co-star than Mike Trout, which a few years ago would be crazy to say. But now, if you're being real, the injuries are the same in a sense, but if you
they're becoming more extreme.
Right. If you go to New York and you team up with Aaron Judge, I think that's better than teaming up with Mike Trout right now.
I don't think so.
With the New York Yankees organization, I think it is.
No way.
Because they're going to bring in the pieces.
No, they're not. But that's the problem. They bring in the pieces and they suck.
No, but here's what I'm trying to tell you, right? Would you rather suck with potential or suck knowing that it's never going to get better?
I would suck knowing it's never going to get better because I'm not going to have that false sense of security in my head.
You hate the Yankees so much.
Not only that, but in all actuality, I'm not going to go to a situation where, okay, I got a good co-star, but then I still got to deal with Giancarlo Stanton getting injured too. I got to deal with another guy in Anthony Rizzo who was supposed to come in and help us. All of a sudden, Buddy's being like the Darren Williams of MLB, forgetting how to play baseball, right? And it's this constant reshuffling and all this stuff. Where if I'm Ohtani, I don't go there. If I'm Ohtani, I'll be honest, I don't go to any team where I'm supposed to be the missing piece because I already went through that in LA. I already went through that with the Angels. I'm trying to go to a place where they already have something, and I could just be plugged in. And it's great, and we're fine. I'm not trying to be there and pretend to be a savior. I already tried to do that with the Angels. And all that has done is made me contemplate going back to Japan. Like, that's what it's all made him contemplate doing. Like, him going, yo, this is what all the hype is about with the MLB? Like, a lot of the guys who came from Japan to pitch over here,
Just messing around right now, bro.
yeah, I'm like, this is it. Like
Stumbling
this is,
into another MVP, just hanging out, having fun.
I'm mad, like, but that's like, I don't know. Me personally, I think if he really wanted to like to win, I think there's a few teams he can go. I think the Blue Jays, Toronto. I think that would be. Now the only problem is, would he be okay with the weather? That's I think would honestly, because they have something. They have something solid there, right? And then
nice court, Vladdy, Bo, George,
right, and they can produce, right? So you'll go in. I think he'll fit there. If the Texas Rangers can keep doing what they're doing, you add Ohtani to that rotation. Now you have a situation where Max Scherzer doesn't have to be Max Scherzer,
right?
If he stays there, Pat, you know what I mean.
Jacob deGrom gets back at some point. You know
that's what I'm saying. Because now you have Jacob deGrom, and now you can be. Now you're more comfortable being.
They're literally playing. They're literally playing the show with salary cap off, bro. Like,
if we're gonna be honest, right?
They're just doing it, like,
right. But I think there's a good amount of teams where he can go in, and he doesn't have to carry them offensively and with his pitching.
I think the Dodgers are a big one too. You saw his relationship with Mookie Betts recently. You know, he says how much he loves Mookie. He says how much he wants to be there. You have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and company.
I mean, eventually, you're gonna have to run out of money, and I think the Dodgers are on the verge of running out of money, bro.
You have to at some point, bro.
Right? Because they're just throwing blank checks at this point.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Are they gonna run out of money, Pride?
Probably not. Let's be honest, probably not.
If you get Ohtani, I think you make that money back in 7 years.
You want to know the God honest truth? Do you want to know the God honest truth? Do you want to know the God honest truth? I think you make it back in less.
It's definitely. I mean, the jerseys, the gear, the sleep, the ticket.
Because think about it, you can increase that stuff exponentially.
Win a couple World Series championships. That's more playoff games.
And so now we have a completely different conversation. So I think if they get Ohtani, I think they make that money back
soon,
before 7 years. They might make that money up before his contract is over, depending on how long his contract is.
Most definitely.
I think they make that up way before.
Right. Now everybody else's contracts as well, you know, that's a different conversation of how much
I'm just talking about specifically his.
For that one, man, I'll take it right now. Give me that contract.
Another confusing move that was made. Mike, you're smart. I want you to see if you can break this down for a casual like me.
Okay.
What is St. Louis doing?
They're doing it wrong.
Oh God, because
talking about Flaherty.
Yes, we suck, so we're gonna get rid of everyone. But let's go get a quality arm in Jack Flaherty.
Oh yeah.
And Baltimore stupid for letting that slide.
Twisted. Got it backwards.
What do you mean?
Flaherty went to Baltimore.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I'm retarded.
Can't say that.
Damn, I'm retarded.
Can't say that again.
I'm retarded.
Can't say that.
I can't say what?
I'm not saying it. We can't say that.
I was dropped on my head as a child. My fault. I can't read. My bad.
You, bro. I can't stand you at all.
I was dropped on my head.
Jack Flaherty's now.
I'm sorry. Jack Flaherty to the Baltimore. My fault. Wow, now my take is completely opposite now.
Talk to me. How are we feeling?
No.
Yes.
So they got this wrong.
Who are you looking at?
I don't know. I'm just looking at some guy's Twitter.
Hey, this whole time we've been saying the team's wrong. They're going to
No.
Imagine we're breaking down. Yeah, Josh Bell on the Guardians, bro. Can't believe that happened, bro. It's crazy.
No. It was. So I was watching. So I'm on CBS, CBSSports.com, and that's how I'm looking at it. And then they have they had a video playing up, and I was watching the video, and then it basically. So the way they did it was all the way on the left. They put the team, then they put the position, then their hand. then the position, then the name of the player, and then it said former team.
Okay.
So basically, the team that they're going from, and they basically said Jack Flaherty was going from Baltimore. Looking at that graphic, so I can't read. You know, my father never read me any bedtime stories, so I don't know what you want from me right now, bro.
What's up, father?
I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I can't read comics, bro.
But no, man, I'm gonna make a statement right now.
Let me hear it.
You ready for this?
Probably not.
Let's clip it. 1544. Okay. The Baltimore Orioles are going to the World Series.
Okay, you're okay. I think you're a little too ecstatic. You need to pump the brakes.
I mean it so much. I'm not pumping the brakes. I'll tell you why.
No, okay, tell me.
Go ahead.
You're saying they're definitively making it. Like, they are your team to come out of the AL in the World Series.
They are my team to come out of the AL.
All right, go ahead. Start digging your hole.
First and foremost, Brandon Hyde, former bench coach of the 2016 Cubs.
Amazing. I knew somehow.
Amazing.
I knew somehow they was gonna come back to the Cubs.
Amazing.
God damn it.
Amazing manager. I love him so much. He's so great. Somehow I ended up with David Ross, who was how did that happen? I don't know. It just hey, what's your experience after playing baseball? I was on Dancing with the Stars. Oh, okay. You're the manager now. Keep. But
I got it.
What's this? He said what? Sir. But Gunnar Henderson, Adley Ridley, all these other pieces that they brought in. They just brought in a Japanese star from Oakland. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
And I can't pronounce his name, so we're going to skip through it. But he has a 4 ERA currently right now with them after having an 8 ERA entirely with Oakland, which makes sense because if I was on Oakland, I would do anything to not be on Oakland too. Get out of the game as much as possible and go home, crack a beer. You feel me, Pride? I'm so for real. Hey, first inning, my hammy hurts. I'm leaving. Parking lot, gone. I'm going to go tailgate. I'm going to go tailgate because what? But, it's definitely something for me that I look at the Baltimore Orioles kind of the way we looked at the Seattle Mariners, kind of the way we looked at the Toronto Blue Jays of last year, the Cleveland Guardians. And you look at them and you say, the only thing those teams we just named and we've been talking about didn't do is bring in reinforcements. To bring in the kid from Oakland, to bring in Jack Flaherty, who arguably was an ace for the St. Louis Cardinals until he had injuries. And he's been on his grind. He's been healthy the majority of this year after coming back from injury. You look at those pieces, you look at these young kids, and like we talked about earlier, I'm seeing you put pillars next to them, put big dogs that are ready to win now. And that's something to me that I think is going to surprise a lot of people. And I think a lot of people in the American League already know that. But when you go up against teams in the NL, I think it's going to be crazy if they had a matchup with the Braves. Now, obviously, we all know what the Braves are going to do. And I think the writing's on the walls for how well they can perform top to bottom. They're 10 times better than they were the year they won a championship, in my opinion. But it's going to be interesting. You tell her to shut up, Pride.
What color?
Naomi, be louder. As I was saying, folks, I'm really interrupted by a dude who literally puts his fingers in his own butt, scratches it, and smells it. I will say this. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Michael. Anyway, as I was saying.
Oh, you were talking to me.
Yeah, you goofy goober.
Listen, bro. Show's going off the rails, and I don't even know why.
Who you telling, bro? See, this is why they want to get rid of me.
Give me that. Give me that Usher sound one more time.
Oh, you want it one more time? You want it one more time?
One more time. Doodle Bob. I don't know why I'd be thinking. You remember that one SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob was like a DJ, and like that was the type of music he would play. And you're like, it would just be like straight like keynotes, and you'd be like, this shit kind of hot.
Speaking of SpongeBob, on God, that's Paul George. Every time he goes up for a dunk, I'm just violating everybody today. I don't care anymore.
We started off so strong. It took an hour and 19 minutes for us to go off the rails. I'm proud of us.
Oh God, bro, 100%. I will say this though, like I think even if they win the division, Baltimore respectfully has no chance. I don't think they beat Tampa. I don't think they. Anyone from the AL Central, they're smacking. I will give you that, right? Like Cleveland, Minnesota, It
That's
may
it.
be
No, that's it. That's it.
Detroit
No,
because
that's it.
Detroit is
No, no, no,
technically
no, no.
Detroit is 6.5
No.
out. So
No.
we gotta be consistent. We gotta be consistent. We gotta be consistent.
I'm being
No.
very-
In all legitimacy, it's Minnesota or Cleveland. In all legitimacy, but we gotta give Detroit a little credit because there are
I'll give them
only
some
6.5
love.
back.
I'll
Just a smidgen.
acknowledge you're there.
That's it. Okay, that's it. That's all you gotta do.
And
You
goodbye.
ain't gotta do anything else.
That's it.
That's it. We'll acknowledge them, right? But and then from the AL West,
check it out. So you're driving, right? Take a walk.
Yeah.
Driving.
I'm walking.
Park. Red light. Boom. You're stopped. Homeless guy with a cup. You look, acknowledge him, look forward again, or you look at your phone. You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
Like
That's it.
that's all I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
That was so
That's it.
rude.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. I don't care.
Canceled.
I don't care.
Homeless people.
Mans was homeless. Get your financials up. Yeah. I'm horrible. Hi, baby girl. I will say this. Oh. Yo, I love this soundboard. Oh Lord.
Get your financials up.
Oh man. Yo, Mike, get your money up. That's your funny up.
He goes to a financial advisor. He's giving him all the advice in the world. He'll be like, all right, that'll be $30. He's like,
but I don't have it.
what did we just talk about? He talked about it for 2 hours, bro. Oh, I gotta unshare this episode, bro. We're getting canceled.
Nah, we're not. We're with it.
William Knife Man.
What are you doing, Dad?
Oh God, bro, that's how you got homeless people screaming, bro, for some change. Oh man, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me?
What's up, Dad?
I'm done. I'm done.
What's that, Dad? Daddy, what's that?
Right now, Daddy's off the rails right now. Okay.
Wow, color.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is why I don't get invited anymore. This is why no one talks to me. This is why I'm be by myself in a corner, just like keeping my change to me, because let me shut up. God, man. All right, let me get back on it, Michael. Because
We're fired. Hey,
oh my Lord, dude,
good thing there hasn't been any fireballs lately, or that would have been a million people reach would have seen it.
Yeah. Michael, I have one thing, because it's kind of funny how we're talking about
Oh, Glenn's here. Glenn's saw it. Glenn's.
I'm glad you're sticking by us, bro. I'm glad you're sticking by us, because Lord knows anybody else would have abandoned us in our time of need. But speaking of robberies, and charity, and just giving stuff away for free for no reason whatsoever,
Homelessness.
Detroit gave he said Michael Lorenzen to Philly, which for Philly, I love it. I really do.
I love Michael Lorenzen. Great story.
That dude. He's been through, bro.
He said I stepped away and came back to this.
As long as we're entertaining, that's all I care about, bro.
Oh,
that's it, bro. This is me exhausted, drained, and just not caring. That's why everyone else is trash, because they're too scared to say anything, bro. You feel me? These dudes be trash, bro. They be changing their minds quicker than freaking. Let me shut up, bro. Because I'm about to hurt some feelings, bro. And I'm not in the business to do that. Yeah, psych, boy. Yeah. Some of these motherfuckers be just chirping like goofball McGee's. Michael.
Yeah.
Michael Lorenzen goes to Philly. I love it. I think. Sure. I that made me feel great. Again, like you said, it's a feel good story. Everything old buddy's been through. If I'm mistaken, didn't his pops pass?
His dad died, and he hit a home run the next day to his dad's favorite walk-up song. Mind you,
yes,
and
like that was the
that pride was the beauty of the National League. having pitchers bat. That never would have happened in the American League. Never would have had that moment.
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
sometimes I miss it every now and again, and then I remember that
you Darvish standing there just waiting to get freaking struck out,
just vibing, just happy
that's
to
it.
be there. And it was like, okay, never mind. I'm happy where I'm at.
Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I don't care if I get a trouble because Mike, you opened it. So everyone, if you're gonna get mad at me, blame Mike too. You Darvish stands there like the homeless person stands outside of your car waiting for change. Just straight standing there, not moving, nothing, just looking at you. Like, I know you see me. 100%. But one more time for the people in the back.
Get your money up, not your funny up.
No.
And for the coup de grace.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Like, oh man, bro.
Special place for us.
110%. But
That's okay.
the GOAT, Michael Lorenzen, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see it, don't you?
I do. I think it's a great move. It's definitely something that he's not your 1, he's not your 2, he probably isn't your 3, but to be a 4 or a 5, he's going to be absolutely incredible in that role with this Phillies offense right behind him if Trey Turner can ever figure out how to hit a baseball again.
Oh, dear God.
But with that, man, Bryce continues to get better. You know what I love? They put Bryce Harper at first base the other night.
Dude, look like he's been playing first base his entire career.
Not even that.
It's wild.
They said, Bryce, we're putting you at first to make sure you don't get injured. And then I watched him jump into the dugout to catch a ball that was going into his hands. And I was like,
bump you.
I will kill you. Like, I am so upset. Like, if I'm the GM, I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? And Bryce is like, I'm just here balling, baby. He's literally like,
oh God, that's it.
He's literally like, he gives me WWE vibes so heavily.
Yes.
Like, he does not care. He will take a chair to the back and he will be back. You know what I mean? Like,
nah, bro. He'll take it straight to the head, unprotected. Like, hit him in the head and go, boom, done, dusted.
Get back up, just like Edge. He's going to do it. But
yeah, that's right.
With that, though, man, I think this is a solid move for them because that's something they desperately needed last year. You know, the Noah Syndergaards of the world just didn't work out. And guys like that were so crucial in the playoffs, especially getting to the World Series, shocking the world and getting to the World Series, really. It's something that I think captivates that and kind of gives you that idea that we still believe in this team, the fact that they didn't stay put. You know, when you stay put, there's 1 to 3 reasons. 1, your GM doesn't know what you're doing. It's kind of just where you're at. 2, ownership doesn't allow you to do what you're doing. Or 3, you either believe in the team or you just simply don't. And that's kind of a 4th option, but it's relatively the same. You know, if we don't believe in this season, we're not making a move because why are we trading away prospects? But if you believe in this team, then you keep them and you don't sell. So the fact that they didn't sell, the fact that they didn't stay put shows that it's not that they don't believe in the team. It's not that they think they're a year away. They believe they're here, right now. And I think that's something that's really important and really key for them moving forward is it's a boost, man. It's a boost to this roster. It's a boost to this team. The pitching staff was obviously a big part of why they lost in the World Series last year to the Astros, which credit to the Astros, you know, they were a phenomenally well put together offense and with an amazing rotation. So it was going to be hard to beat them from the get-go, no matter who you were, Atlanta, New York, whatever. Like, it was going to be a challenge. And I think for Philly right now, to get another key arm that just is very underrated, but understands the assignment of what he needs to do, I think it's really beneficial for them moving forward.
Yeah. Before we hop out of here, there's one team I want to talk about. The dog shit Yankees.
Man, we didn't talk about the moves the Chicago Cubs made.
No. I mean, do you want to? Man. I'll give you the opportunity now.
You know what? I don't want to.
Because I don't think they did anything on Tuesday.
We brought in Jamer Candelario, I believe, Tuesday night.
Was that? No, it couldn't have been Tuesday night.
It was Tuesday night.
It couldn't have been. It had to be Monday night.
It was literally... Oh, yeah,
how was it Tuesday night when the trade... I was about to say, the deadline happened on 6.
It was Monday night. Yeah, they brought in Jamer.
I'll be nice. Let's rewind that because, you know, you guys brought in... Well, you guys did a couple moves. on Monday.
A few
Yeah,
weeks.
you guys got a couple pitchers and an infielder, I think it is.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Jamer Candelario, who, by the way, is 8 for 9 right now, batting with the Chicago Cubs. Went 4 for 4 in his debut. You want to know something I didn't know, Pride? That's why I wanted to talk about it.
Let me hear it.
Who is the only part of the 2016 Chicago Cubs that is left on this roster? Could you name him?
Don't tell me. He's got to be on the bench.
Just name him. Go ahead. Who do you believe? There's 2. Technically 1 that
There's
plays.
2?
Technically 1 that plays.
Hold on. Is it this kid? Did you guys have him, trade him, and he came back?
So Kyle Hendricks, first one.
Oh, my God. I forgot he was there.
David Ross is the manager, so you could take that for what it is. You know what I mean? But he was there.
I'm not going to count that because I'm talking about active player.
Right. But
Technically, you're right. Technically, it is too.
Jamer Candelario came up in 2016 with the Chicago Cubs in his rookie year for Chris Coughlin, who was put on the injured list. And he batted like 0.91, but he played enough games to be viewed as a World Series champion and get a ring. Traded away in 2017. He played third base. You had Chris Bryant, just won MVP. It wasn't happening. You know what I mean? Like, they let him go. Then they extended David Bodie, and he's been in Iowa ever since. So you'll love to see it. But with that, man, it's another part of that 2016 team that not a lot of people would recognize, not a lot of people talk about. It's actually pretty crazy because I myself didn't think he played enough games to even be mentioned in that. He definitely wasn't there in the playoffs. He wasn't even on the roster. But, hey, he's a World Series champion with the Chicago Cubs, and I think it's crazy.
It is wild, bro. It is wild how, and especially a lot of the times when that happens, bro, when guys will start there, get traded, and next thing you know,
come back a whole different person, man. Like right now, he's got 16 homers on the year. You know, he looks like he's not an all-star by any means, but he's
a very solid player that you need in your lineup.
Well on his way to being a well-rounded, low-end tier, above-average third baseman. And that's something right now for me that he figured out in Detroit and figured out in Washington. And I think when you go to 2 shitholes like that, you start to be the best version of yourself because you get all the opportunities to do so.
Exactly.
And we also got Jose Cuellos, who has an amazing story. If you haven't heard it already, he obviously was a FedEx driver and he wanted to quit baseball. His brother Alex wouldn't let him. So another feel-good story. He closed out the game last night. 2 men allowed on base, and then punched out the side for a 16-6 win against the Cincinnati Reds, the first place Cincinnati Reds. We coming for that ass, Gonzo. We coming.
I will say I do like Jose stuff. I do like him.
I like him a lot. I think his control is a problem at times.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The problem with his control, it doesn't really become a problem after he starts trying to force. And I kind of noticed this. He gives me a lot of Aroldis Chapman vibes.
Dude, okay, I want to take you there. I want to take you there real quick. This is what I saw last night, really watching him in a Cubs uniform. You see the delivery, and it's Aroldis Chapman, but his setup reminds me of Craig Kimbrell. And he does the arm thing.
Yes.
And then but the way he throws, the velocity and the stuff isn't there, obviously, compared to Aroldis at 105, but it's definitely that kind of style. I love that you said that because I thought the same exact thing last night when I was watching him. It reminds me of Kimbrell and Aroldis, and I think if we can channel that, I think it's going to be a great thing.
Yeah, and for me, it's just like, for me, it's like I said, it's kind of like the Aroldis Chapman effect, where you can throw some heat, but there's a sacrifice that comes with throwing that heat.
Right.
Your control is going to go away. Now, there are my also another concern I have for him is he's so eager to throw fast that when you kind of try to have him change speed and throw like an off-speed pitch or whatever, he still looks like he wants to rip it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
he has a hard time separating the two.
Right. You know what I mean? And again, Aroldis Chapman had that same problem. He had the same problem when he was in Cincinnati, was able to control himself, then ended up being the best closer in all of baseball for a stretch, goes to New York, and granted, I thought he still was the best, but it was just, there were certain moments that kind of, I feel bad because he was doing very good.
Well, I think Chicago also broke him, but
you think Chicago broke
him? We broke that man. We Pride, when I tell you, hold on, let me turn it back on. When I
Go
tell
ahead.
you, we destroyed that game. But during the World Series, during the playoffs,
I know y'all ran him to the ground, but
we were using this guy for 3 innings a game, like at one point, and it was like that was Joe Madden, but it had to be done. It was like, man, you're going up against these teams, the Dodgers, you're going up against the Giants, and the Giants in an even year, by the way, which was a huge deal back, and they were winning every other year. Every year, if it was an even year, the Giants are winning the World. It was them. And when you go up against the what were the Indians, couldn't guard that 3-1 lead though, so we don't call them the Guardians. But but it's definitely something that I think you started to see a change in him after that, and I think maybe complacency was a part of that, maybe satisfaction. Winning a World Series, you're at the highest level now. Just cash out and hang out. There's the Houston conversations too. He did very well until Houston in the playoffs, and that was the buzzer year. So there's the trash can year. So there's a lot that goes into it. The last guy the Chicago Cubs got, probably this is my favorite one. This was one that he's probably not going to be on the roster. He's in AAA Iowa right now. Josh Robertson from the Durham Bulls in the Tampa Bay Rays AAA affiliate. I believe they're AA or AAA. It's like a 4-something ERA. Not great. 27 years of age, right-handed pitcher. What I loved about it, Manny Rodriguez, who's a minor league guy, came up a little bit last year, not great. Adrian Sampson, who is unplayable in the majors. These are 2 guys right now in the minors that are on bigger deals, mainly Adrian. And you're looking at that and you're going, what are you doing? What are you providing? We signed you to be an MLB starter or an MLB arm, and you're in Iowa, and you're not doing well in Iowa.
So I was about to say, and that's and I don't mean to cut you off, but for me, that's the problem. Like I understand sometimes you need to send guys down, but
you're not coming back up.
Right. And honestly, for me, that was kind of why I kind of was like, I'm just more surprised someone actually took them. Now, obviously, it's Tampa, right? It's Tampa. So if there's any team that could kind of make you fix your stuff and kind of tap into something, yes, it is them. But I just thought Chicago made a great move. I think it was smart. Granted, again, yes, you're getting a guy that you're probably going to cut.
You have a kid with upside.
He's got something there.
Upside, and you took away 2 guys that just weren't providing much of anything. And
here's the thing. Even let's say for the sake of this argument, let's say for some reason Josh Robertson ends up, being a bust and you move on.
That's okay.
You still are saving money.
Right. Adrian's off the books.
Exactly.
So we've already seen what Manny can do. And it was
exactly. And even at his peak, it's very, very underwhelming. It's kind of like, we'll put you out there to be a middle reliever for an inning to buy us time, sure. But if that's the apex of what you can bring to the table, I don't necessarily think you really have a role nowadays, right?
I love that because it's we have David Bodie making $80 million off that original deal for 1 grand slam against the Nationals, Ray Bond. But to win the game, by the way, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. David Bodie, fuck you, Washington. But with that, you really break that down and you say, David Bodie's just hanging out in Iowa. We have to kind of do that because nobody wants David Bodie.
Right.
But we're not going to allow other guys to slide if we think something has value. And they didn't care. They said, hey, you want him? Take him. That's fine. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing. So I love the moves. Jamer, to me, what he has the ability to do is make this lineup elite. What we've seen from this team the entire year, and I've never told you this, because I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? From 6 to 9, I question a lot of things. But now you're able, like yesterday's lineup. Yesterday's lineup was my favorite lineup we've ever seen from the Cubs all year long. And it's not even, I don't even think it's the greatest lineup that they could potentially have. Last night we had Nico Horner batting first, playing second base. Christopher Morel DHing. He's batting over 313 at DH. If he's in the outfield, if he's at third base, second base, he's not doing too well. At DH, he's batting over 313. He's playing second. You have Cody Bellinger. He's batting third. You have Dansby Swanson batting cleanup. Ian Happ fifth. Sixth is Yan Gomes, who's batting over 330 in the month of July and going into August. He's been an absolute stud. I don't think that's going to continue too long, but it's cool for right now. Seiya Suzuki batting seventh. Jamer Candelario batting 8th, and Patrick Wisdom, a guy who can knock in 2 home runs a game. You know, he's one of those guys, he's going to strike out or he's going to hit a bomb on the wavelength. And that for me is everything, because now you have him at first base. You have Jamer Candelario, a legitimate third baseman. You can have all these guys in a position where the Cubs can have one of the best defenses in all of baseball now. And it's because of the fact that there isn't a wide gap at third base. Everything else is great. You know, you still have guys like Miguel Amaya. You still have other guys in this rotation, in the part of this bench unit that Nick Madrigal. I mean, we can do this all day of guys that you believe in and you think could potentially make this lineup a lot deadlier than it is. So I like it a lot. One move fixed everything because you didn't have a third baseman, you had to put Patrick Wisdom at third. Because you don't have Patrick Wisdom at first, you have to play Trey Mancini. You know what I mean? Now there's a chance where Mike Tauchman can play every single day in center field. You have Cody Bellinger at first or Patrick Wisdom at first. You know, we can do all these different things. And it's a beautiful thing because the roster is complete for the first time in a long time from an offensive production standpoint. Obviously, pitching-wise, you know, I think it can get better. Marcus Stroman just got put on the 15-day IL, and it says he has a hip injury, but the reality of it, I think, in my opinion, is you had a rough July, so just go back down there, chill out, work on some stuff, and come back up ready for August. And I'm excited about it, though, man. I'm really excited about it. So I love the moves. They weren't blockbuster. You know, there was no Juan Soto, there was no Shohei Ohtani, but it was really dope.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, the moves you made, yes, they weren't a blockbuster, but they made sense.
Right.
They made sense in
Not
terms
forcing
of,
things.
right, like either we're just trying to get money off the books, like they did with the Adrian Sampson, Manny Rodriguez, kind of getting them out of Dodge. Right. Whether it was, you know what, let's put a little faith in a youngster for upside type of situation which is Jose. That's kind of a situation where, you know what, we think we can kind of mold this guy into what we want. You know, let's give him some opportunities here and there. And I listen. I think you guys, and especially too with the infielder, Jamer. Yes, Jamer. That's another one where it felt we're not forcing anything. We're giving up guys who we don't believe in, or guys who we just feel like it's time to move on, or guys
mind you, not to cut you off, but this is a guy you know very well. This is a guy you drafted.
You already had him, right?
And the only reason you gave him up was because Chris Bryant was
there at exactly. So
right.
had they did that whole rebuild thing a couple years earlier, if there's a legitimate conversation that Jamer would have never been dealt.
Well, let's talk about, you know, the Astros drafting. The reality is the Astros drafted a current lawyer, a guy who's not even in the league, number 1 overall. Chris Bryant goes number 2. In a redraft where you see Chris Bryant go number 1, the Cubs probably have Jamer at third base in that
as we speak. That's a great point too, because again, if he goes first, there's legitimate conversation that unless something catastrophic happens,
Cubs would have took a lawyer, and I lost my mind.
Right, but there's a legitimate chance. We're looking at Jamer the way we looked at Chris Bryant.
No, I don't think he was ready for that. I don't think he was ready for that.
No, I'm talking about now.
Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? Cornerstone third baseman. I don't think you're looking at an MVP or a.
But I know I'm saying there's like a cornerstone franchise guy that's holding down your position type of thing. Yeah, I think that's how. I think it's a possibility you're looking at him like that.
And I meant to tell you too. So he wore number 7 the first time he came, right? And this time he's wearing number 9, and it's the first time number 9's been worn. And it made me think of you, and it broke my heart last night. But I was like, you know what? It's cool though. Like, it's time to move on. Let's ride. The only one I think you don't want to ever see again, in my opinion, is 44. I think they're definitely going to retire Rizzo's number. He's just been here 10 plus years. Everything he did.
I don't think they retire his number.
I think you have to. I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. Check this out, right? Take a walk with me.
I'm walking.
Ernie Banks, Mark Grace, Billy Williams, all the other greats, right? Ron Santo, Ryan Sandberg. They retired all their shit. Where's their rings? Like, there was a 108-year curse.
That's a good point.
108-year curse. And the Gold Glover, who was in MVP conversations every single year, been here for 10 years, the face of the franchise, first baseman, the captain of the team. How could you not?
Okay.
How could you not?
When you sell it to me like that, I'll buy it.
You could make an argument for Chris too. You really could make an argument for Chris.
I was about to say, I think you make an argument for Chris. I think Baez of those three is the only one where you're kind of like, yeah, you're kind of like, there's respectfully, like I don't think they retire any of their jerseys. That's just me. However,
you want to hear my stick, because I think the Ricketts are in a position of profiting and making money, bringing in tourist attractions. I think you see a Chicago 90s Bulls fan. I think you see Dennis. I think you see Scotty. I think you see Michael. I think you see all three of them get retired. I think they make statues of all three of them. And I think a big part of that, to be honest with you, I think it could be one huge statue of all three of them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, just because all three of them were there for 6 to 8 plus years. And I think what they provided and what they did for the city, it'll just never be forgotten. And obviously Baez came in second in the MVP conversation. He's won a Gold Glove. Chris has won Rookie of the Year, MVP. Rizzo is a multi-time Gold Glover. He's the captain of the team, heart and soul. Like, I look at them the same way I think the Bulls value a guy like Michael, Scotty, and Dennis, and it's the big three. And I think whether they have statues outside of Wrigley or just their jerseys hanging up on the flagpole, I definitely think all three of them would get the nod. But if more anything, it's Chris and Riz. Pridely, sir, are you speaking? Pride, why is your name the dark-skinned Messi? Man, we're sitting here. I don't know if you guys can hear Pride, but I can't hear Pride. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But let's remove Pride. See my face. Pride, are you back, sir?
Yo, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, baby.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened, but it's just tweaking. But anyways, my name is now Dark Skin Messi. When he came,
what it says.
Yeah, that's my new name now.
I thought you said it's not. I was like, I didn't make it up.
No, 100% it is. When Messi came to Inter Miami, I was like, that's my boy. It then inspired a debate with me and someone about who's better, Messi or Ronaldo.
Messi.
And I was like, it's Messi, not even close.
I do one better. It's Mbappe.
It's no, respectfully, no. I mean, no. And I like Mbappe. And I'm thinking about 5-6 years, so you can have a conversation, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah, no, I was just
right
playing.
now. Yeah, it's Messi. It's not even clear. And how I differentiate it, I look at it more as the LeBron, Michael Jordan argument.
Right.
If you want pure scoring, you're gonna go to Mike. If you want the best all-around player, you're gonna go LeBron. That's just logic.
Oh, so Messi's LeBron?
Yes.
Okay.
Ronaldo is he's a better scorer. He is.
I'm with that.
But in terms of everything else, Messi is better. And what you're sacrificing in scoring is really not that bad. It's not bad enough. I'm not listening to a dude who, Damien, do me a favor, bro. Roll out of bed. Roll out of bed there, Buster. Okay? Roll out of bed and maybe I'll take you legitimately. Until then, you know what to do. That's just me though. Like, I look at it as I need to see what you bring to the table, what you're best at, all that stuff. Ronaldo's a better scorer, and I'm gonna never take that from him. That being said, though, outside of that, I'm looking at a Messi who can do basically everything Ronaldo can do, and sure, the scoring isn't there, but I still do think that you're the sacrifice of the scoring is not enough to make you kind of freak out. But yeah, I was deep throat Messi, so that's kind of
as you should. As you should. Pride. Are we wrapping it up, baby?
We're wrapping it up, bro, because I gotta put pause on some of these kids now. I gotta put pause.
Oh no.
Yeah, I gotta. Nah, you good. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been the ASAP Afternoon Blitz, all baseball edition. This was fun.
And Messi and homeless people.
Yeah, 100% homeless people. I just X out of the thing, so I can't even do it. But yo, get your money up, not your funny up. Go outside, don't socialize, work aside. That's what that need to do, right? Go work. Get a job, bums. Spend your boy Pride on behalf of Mike Huggies Hughes. It has been a privilege and an honor. Mike, any final words before we get up out of here?
Cubs are back. That's all I got. Cubs are back. We're ready to go. Ready to get rolling. 2 games out of the wild card. 2 games out of first place. Gonzo, I'm on your fucking head, baby. Get your money up, not your funny up. Pride.
Love to hear it. By the way, Mike, I know you have a new friend, so I'm not gonna bother you too much, bro. Because who's
my new
you
friend?
And your new friend. You already know who it is. But on behalf of Mike, it is your boy Pride.
Don't.
Everyone else will be back here tomorrow. My bum ass is probably gonna be at work. I hate working. I hate that job. But everyone here will catch you tomorrow. Until then, y'all know what to do. Be safe.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.